Okay, let's go then.
Yeah, there's one I'm going to start off with by RazorClaw999, who said, where can we track your game company for your game? That's a fun one to answer. It's one of those things where when big things are in progress, you really can't talk about them. And I say big relative to us. There's some people being like, "Oh, you're an MMO YouTuber. Clearly, you're making an MMO." Absolutely not.
No.
The goal for us is to make relatively small to medium-sized role-playing games with a heavy emphasis on taking you to a new world, immersing you in a fantasy, and just focusing on art, focusing on script. I guess what I can tell you is that there is in our heads right now a game 1 and a game 2. Game 1 is pretty well along the way. I do hope to have exciting news for that relatively soon. Game 2 would obviously have to be after that. You will know from the things we've shared publicly that game 1 is 2D. Now, it's actually not 2D. It's literally 3D. If you go into a Unity scene and move the camera about, it's actually 3D compositions, and sometimes, we'll sort of scope out something in 3D and then, after that, like do drawovers and stuff to like sort of quickly test out new environments and things like that. But yeah, that is kind of that situation. We're all hands on deck for game 1. Technically it is possible for you to find out what game 2 is and to maybe even find its cover art because NI Screen posted they posted a few tweets, and that's all public stuff, of course. Game 2's different from game 1 in setting and theme, let's just say. All exciting stuff. Game 2 is 3D as well, so that's fun. And a lot of people actually don't understand this. It is cheaper to do 3D than it is to do 2D in many, many, many cases. You would not believe how much work it takes to do a full set of poses for 8 characters, 2D, and then to have emote degradation. That our game is, a big inspiration is Alfred Lansing's book on the Shackleton expedition, which I listened to as a kid. And basically the situation there was, you will have seen the Kaiju game, we'd show that off previously, and while I think we did get a lot of tone and mood and vibe, I think quite right for the experience we wanted to create, it would have been too hard and too expensive and all of that stuff, and we were too early on in our journey to actually get a big, complex, numbersy, combat-y game actually being at that quality level where I'd be comfortable with it. So after that, we were like, okay, if the focus for us, the things that we know we can do quite well are sound design and narrative and art, then we will focus on those. So trying to, make that core sort of role-playing game experience. So that's what's up there. There's exciting stuff. There's, how many people? It's like 8-ish people. We've got a new person on for 6 months to a year, starting, I think, very soon, but we sort of signed off that. So that's exciting. Exciting, actually. It should mean that our emotes and basically the state of our characters should be more gnarly as time goes on. We should be able to reflect narrative events more in art with those enhanced resources. So that's quite fun.
Fantastic.
As for where to track the company, to really go into this question, when the time is right, there will be a website. And I can definitely tell you that my intention is to, if you go onto my intention is not to have the drama that follows Star Citizen be anything that we do. And game 1 is not crowdfunded. Currently, that is not the plan. But even with that being the case, I do want to do maybe every week, maybe every 2 weeks, proper feature videos. So, and that will be well-produced stuff. Really, I want to go ham and making incredible devlogs. So when the time is right, you will be able to track progress via that. But the time is not right now. And if we,
Not just yet.
if we did that stuff too early, it would be self-defeating, because at the end of the day, we've got to make a game, and making social media content and websites and all that stuff about a game, you can't let that take away from making the game until the time is right, and you've got the making the game bit down pat, and your production worked out, and that is a lot of work. Then the public stuff can flow.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar to what we were talking about with Blizzard, where it's like these developers could be like, hello, here's specifically what we're working on, here's specifically what we're doing, here's all our plans to solve them. But that would take, like, I don't know how many hours a week that would take, and those would be better served actually just making more content.
Yeah.
So that's why we're like, we completely see that, like, they could do this, but it's probably not efficient by comparison. So just
actually, there is a follow-up from Razorclaw on the same thing. So again, thank you. Who said, I meant more along the lines of pre-orders and stuff like that. So when can people like me who want to support your company help you? Number one, thank you. I mean, you've already supported us a whole bunch just in this stream. So
cheers, man.
Big thank you. Mm-hmm. As for that stuff, I mean, when the time is right...
We'll let you know. Don't worry.
There will be a time where there'll be a pre-order available, and there are interesting things there that if you're interested in game dev are something to talk about. Like, if we were to give the option of supporting the company more by purchasing it directly from our website, that could actually hurt the game in the long run, because purchases made through Steam, especially if there's a review and a wish list involved, are good for the Steam algorithm. So there is a situation where if, let's just say it was a purchase directly from our website where we got 90% and then 10% went to customer service and payment processing. So we would get 20% more revenue from that purchase if it was from our own website. And that could be the wrong move to make, because even though Steam would take 30%, if it is better for the Steam algorithm, then that is what ultimately will be better for the game and the health of the company. And it is a pretty wacky thing that you could actually try to support a developer by purchasing on their own company website, and that will actually hurt the developer, because a lot of what impacts your sales for a game is your Steam algorithm placement. That is why you will always see indie devs, double A's, I mean everybody basically, promoting the Steam wish list. Because important thing number one, getting big Steam wish list numbers, and then it is the conversion rate from wish lists to purchases. And you have to get those things right, because if those things don't go right, Steam doesn't push your game. It's a bit like how if you make a YouTube video and you don't title it and give it a thumbnail that's good, it kind of doesn't matter how, your video could explode because of word of mouth, but that's really quite rare. Yeah. So, it's all really kind of fascinating stuff. That's as much as I can really say at this stage, though. I mean, thank you. I hope you found that interesting. And say if you want to learn a little bit more about some aspects of game dev, follow Mike Rose on Twitter. He is, I believe, the founder of No More Robots, and he often will post just tweets about numbers, what they're doing as a publisher, stuff like that. So if you want to learn more, real good place. Yeah, there's a quick follow-up from Razorclaw, who, again, my God, thank you, said some of what I did is just to support you in your company as a thank you for the years of YouTube content you've done, to which I say thank you so much. And we're making moves on the YouTube side to make more evergreen content. I think a lot of it is stuff that the algorithm won't make it pop, but I think for those of you who are here for the long haul, I really hope you love it. Certainly lessons learned from the Nazoth video where we got a bit more spooky and creative, and then on the game side, like game 1's trucking on real good. I think we'll be able to hit the ground running in game 2. There is a bit of a question, game 2 we could do it at multiple different budgets, which would change its scale. Yes. So there'll be some interesting things there, but the reason why we'd be sort of slow out of the gate is because we want to actually hit it right with game 1, and then after that we just want to be delivering really great content that is fair and reasonable in its business model and is not doing any bullshit.
Yeah, I
So,
think it's I think the way to describe it is we're spending so much time trying to actually set up the factory and build all the machines that will do all the stuff, as opposed to just trying to make something quick. That's fundamentally it. So I big plans and hopes in terms of getting stuff pumped out pretty quick after this fairly long warm-up period.
Yeah, and we're not trying to make games that everyone will like. We are, it's the whole 1,000 true fans concept. Yes. I would rather make a game that, a smaller amount of people absolutely would love and would tell their friends about than I would, just sitting around being like, all right, team, how do we make this appeal to more demographics and stuff? You're like,
yeah,
that's not how you do art.
Let's bring the balanced focus group in and show them all this stuff. See what they think.
Yeah, I feel like the default of focus group being mentioned is just. I think that is an out the back and gotten rid of. Because anywhere focus groups go, it just seems to ruin things. It's like, I'm sure that Joss Whedon's Justice League focus grouped better than what Snyder's would have. But it seems like Snyder's, as much as it has its pros and it definitely has its cons, it seems like at least to somebody, it was exactly what they wanted and made them very happy. I'd rather we got more things that were more targeted at a small audience who would love it than just less things, but mass market and big.
Yeah, I think, especially if you try to keep in mind that games fundamentally, oh god, this is such a loaded thing to say. Games are art, damn it. That's the bottom line. But you'd rather have two things that one person each loves rather than two things both people like. I think that's better.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that we hold dear. And that's something that's very important in the indie space as well.
Yeah, of course.
Because you can't just go out there and make a game that you think everyone will like. Your best way, because you're an indie, you don't have a marketing budget.
No.
You've got to make something that somebody loves enough to tell their friend it was a great story that they enjoyed. And maybe they want to see what choices their friend made and how that changed the game. So, yeah.